Hello, film buffs. I told you I'd be back. How's it going? You know who it is. It's Straight Shooter, the one and only. And I'm here at the one and only Team Sound Studios. And today, it's another spoiler review. That's right. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Terminator Dark Fate. So, my first Terminator review, because it's been a while since Genesis. Leading up to Dark Fate, I'm a big Terminator fan. The first one's a classic. T2 is by far the best. It's hard to touch that one. Third one was still decent. It's not bad. Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genesis, yeah. They just weren't very good. There's some cool elements to how Terminator Dark Fate was made, because you have Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool. Arnold Schwarzenegger is back. Linda Hamilton is back. The guy that plays the new Terminator, I recognize him from being on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He played Ghost Rider. Mackenzie Davis, who plays the new enhanced human, who's kind of like the good Terminator, but she's not a Terminator, she's human. And then you have Danielle, goes by Danny, and she's the new leader of the Resistance in the future. So let's start with the setup of the movie. It starts out with Linda Hamilton, and she's de-aged, or I don't know if they used extra footage. Linda Hamilton looks like she did in Terminator 2, and she's with John Connor. And it's not long after the events of Terminator 2, and there's another Terminator that shows up and shoots and kills John. By the way, is played by a child actor that just looks like John Connor did back then. And then years after that, we're in the present, and it's where they're in Mexico City. This girl named Danielle, who has a tough home life. The Terminator comes after her. The bad Terminator, the guy that played Ghost Rider. Gabriel Luna is his name. He kills her dad, kills another member of her family, and she's alone. And the good Terminator, human played by Mackenzie Davis, catches up to her. And there's a big fight between her and the bad Terminator in the factory where her dad worked. Everything starts going from there. Sarah Connor shows up and stops the Terminator for now, but the new Terminator has an interesting power. It's liquid like the T-1000 was in Terminator 2, but he can also leave behind his metal endoskeleton. So he can basically be into places at once. The action in this movie is what really made it good, because Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, he's a good action director. He proved that in Deadpool. Deadpool was a good movie, not just for the humor, because if it was just a comedy with him cracking wise jokes, it would have been like, okay, but it's a good superhero movie because of the action. And Terminator Dark Fate is a good movie because of the action. Where it lacks a little bit is in the plot. Part of the selling point for the new Terminator was everyone's back. Arnold's back, the Hamilton's back, and they made you think that Edward Furlong was back. Turned out he gets killed in the opening of the movie. It's more of a passing of the torch to the new generation, because they stopped Judgment Day and Skynet was stopped. But instead of it being Skynet, there's a new organization called Legion, and they're the ones sending Terminators back in time to stop Danielle, who is the new leader of the Resistance, because John Connor was killed and Judgment Day was stopped, and that didn't happen. So the new timeline is there's a new corporation and a new Resistance. But they still have Terminators, which is kind of weird. But I guess when Skynet shut down, the Terminators got repurposed or something like that. So they find out that Daniela is leader of the Resistance in the future. Linda Hamilton shows up, and they find out that they have to go across the border. They meet up with Arnold, or the T-800. It turns out to actually be the T-800 that killed John Connor. The plot is kind of similar to T3, because you have the bad Terminator going after the new leader of the Resistance. Then you have the enhanced human in this one trying to stop the bad Terminator. And the ending is a lot like T3 because she takes out her power source and that's what kills the new Terminator, and she sacrifices herself, and that's how it happens in the end. And the action scenes made the movie worth seeing, and it put it above anything that was made after Terminator 2. But it's not a perfect movie because the plot is derivative of some of the stuff that they already did after Terminator 2. It's not the movie that, as a Terminator fan, after you've seen Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and you've watched T3, T4, and T5, and you were saying, wow, I wish they could make a great Terminator, a real follow-up to Terminator 2 that's, worthy of being a sequel to it. This is as close as you'll probably get because of the action and the stunt choreography and the effects and all that stuff. But it's still not like what fans were waiting for, or at least this fan. This is the Terminator movie I was hoping for. It's really not. And there are good elements to it. Linda Hamilton is badass. It's always fun to see Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a T-800 again. The enhanced human that Mackenzie Davis plays is pretty good. The new human leader of the Resistance is forgettable. And the new Terminator is cool because he played Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and his powers are pretty cool. But that's about it. Overall, I think there are good parts of the movie and there are not so great parts of the movie. And it could have been done better, but it could have been done worse. And when you're building up a franchise like Terminator and you're saying, James Cameron is coming back to executive produce, Arnold's coming back, Linda Hamilton's coming back, you want to make it really, really good. You don't want to make it just passable. And that's about all they could do, was make it passable. Will I own it when it comes out? Probably, because I still own T3. It's not a terrible movie, but this is a better movie. And it's miles better than Salvation or Genesis. It's unfortunate because the movie isn't doing very well, and it's probably going to be the last Terminator movie. But it's not a bad way to end it. It's just that the ending could have been epic. Because they set it up so that there could be more movies. But obviously there's not going to be more movies. Unless they decide to reboot it again down the line. But it's already been rebooted to death. They've tried rebooting. Now they've tried making a continuation. Probably time to put it out to pasture. It was time to put it out to pasture already 2 movies ago. But Hollywood can't resist trying to get people to go to the theater to see another movie about it. So I think this time was the death knell, which is unfortunate because it's not a bad movie. It was entertaining, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought the plot had a lot of holes, and I thought it was derivative, but it was still a decent movie. A movie I could see watching again on my big screen at home with the surround sound. So, yes, it's a popcorn movie. It's not the movie that T2 was, but it didn't need to be. It just should have been a good continuation of that story, and this wasn't a good continuation of that story. But again, it was good because of the action. It was good because of the direction. It was good because Arnold was back and Hamilton was back. And the Terminator fighting scenes were pretty good. A lot better than anything in the last 2 movies. So that's how I see it. What would I give the movie? I would give it a B. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. That's it for today, just one review. I still have to see Dr. Sleep, but I will be seeing that and reviewing it at some point. So until then, stay tuned, stay frosty, guys.